Just a year ago today, Carlos, a fan favorite of the streetball team, the Savage Squad, was homeless, sleeping on the bench in one of the poorest neighborhoods in Florida. His family had kicked him out, he was broke, and he had not a glimpse of hope around him. Anybody walking past him on their way to work would have given up on him, just like everybody else in his life. The future seemed like nothing but darkness, with not a light at the end in sight. Well, one day, just one hoop session changed his entire life. And just 1 year later, that same Carlos, who was laying down on the bench, kicked out by everyone around him, is now famous, taking pictures with fans, and traveling the world playing basketball. The same dude who was sleeping on the bench. And this drastic life change all happened because of one person. And that one person's name, to the entire world, has recently become synonymous with demon. The same man who's enemy number one and gets thousands of death threats every day changed Carlos's life. The bond between Carlos and Nick is something straight out of a Disney movie, and even then I wouldn't even believe it. I've never seen something like this. However, at one point, even this bond almost fell apart. This is actually one of the craziest stories I've heard in my entire life, so get some popcorn, because this is going to be insane. This is the story of Nick Briz versus CarlosTheSavageGod. Yes, that's actually the name he's given himself, I didn't just make that up. Bruh. From homeless to household name.
Put it on my soul, don't want no endouts, I'll do it on my own. Troubled as a teen, skipping class like they songs. I get down to my last, then I'm running in your own. Mine's blowing on my phone, trying to see where I'm at.
Alright y'all, so before we get into this video, let me just address a couple things. As of right now, Nick and Carlos are on good terms, and they're not beefing. However, this was not always the case, and that's what you're going to see in this video. This video is going to be the entire storyline of Nick and Carlos, all the way from when they met, all the way to where the Savage Squad fell out. If you've seen some of my previous videos, a lot of the storylines are actually going to overlap, so you will see the same clips, but this is going to be everything from Carlos's perspective, and I feel like this will really help people understand what was really going on, but I do not want anyone to be scared that they're going to be clickbaited throughout the video, so I do want to be transparent about that. Also, thank you guys a ton for 17,000 subscribers. I had the goal of 15,000 subscribers last video, and we far surpassed that. I really can't thank you guys enough. If you're new to my channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We're on the road to that 20k mark now. Also hit that like button. It really helps me out in the algorithm and all that, considering I'm a new channel. And follow my Instagram @DocUpYT. We just hit 300 followers and got the co-sign from Devontae Friga. So yeah, go check me out over there too. And let me run my disclaimer so I don't get set aflame in the comment section. Everything I stated in this video is from YouTube videos and articles that I gathered online. Do not take what I stated in this video as law. I am literally just a dude, so obviously it would be impossible for me to know everything that goes on behind the scenes. I just try my absolute best to put all the pieces together based on what's pushed out to the public. And without further ado, let's get into the video. As usual, I'm going to start by introducing the main people involved. First being Nick Briz. Nick Briz is a YouTuber with over 600,000 subscribers. Nick is also the leader of the streetball team, the Savage Squad. Nick handpicked this team himself by picking the craziest and most wild personalities that he could find. And every member of this team has their own personality and they serve as their own characters. Think of it like a TV show. Every team member plays a different role. However, instead of them being actors, their role is their actual personalities. As the leader of this team and the owner of the YouTube channel, Nick also is essentially the producer of the show. Nick initially created this YouTube platform by himself, by dunking at different basketball courts across the globe. But he really started blowing up once he scouted these other personalities and added them to the squad. One of the biggest personalities and fan favorites of this team is Carlos, and he is the next person we're going to be introducing. Carlos is honestly a complete wild card. He is definitely the crazy one of the team. Carlos will miss a wide open layup on a fast break and then tell a defender that he's their dad. I've never seen anything like it, but the fans absolutely love it. Carlos's antics and wildness on the court is extremely entertaining. Although everyone seems to love Carlos, the way he acted on the court did raise a lot of eyebrows. One of his teammates, Chris, recently exposed that Carlos has autism. Until Chris exposed this, the vast majority of the basketball community did not know this information. Also, as you're going to see in this video, Carlos is said to have been homeless on the street, thrown away by everybody, including his own family, before Nick found him and essentially changed his life. So Carlos feels very attached to Nick. Nick, however, was recently exposed for not paying the members of the Savage Squad, including Carlos, fairly. At least this was an accusation. It is said that Nick was only paying Carlos $1,200 a month, meanwhile Nick was bringing in $40,000. Because of this exposing, the whole Savage Squad team almost fell apart, and one member of the team, being Chris, actually left the squad entirely and started his own squad. He then tried to get Carlos to leave Nick and join him instead. And by trying, I mean really trying, like he was begging Carlos to leave.
Yo, Carlos, am I right? Isn't he giving you $1,200 a month? Yeah. Okay, did he not stage the fights? Yeah. And he's just taking advantage of you. Carlos, you come play with me, I'll give you 10% of the channel. You make everything you do off the videos. You're gonna control your own Instagram, and you can just be yourself, bro. And not have to worry about trying to fight people. It's up to you, man.
This situation was so bad that the entire world was telling Carlos to leave Nick. And the dilemma between listening to what the entire world was saying and leaving Nick versus listening to what his loyalty and appreciation was saying and staying with Nick caused Carlos to pretty much go to war with himself. as you can see right here.
I just don't understand this shit, bro. Everything I don't did for this shit, bro. I don't did this. My shit is just broken in pieces, dog.
And he even almost jumped ship on Nick and left the team, causing Nick and Carlos to clash for a little bit, leading to the beef that you can see in this video.
3 options for me: Boss Life, Savage Squad, Hoolies. All this wrapped around my head it's tricking my head, like, bro, it bothers me so much.
And the wildest thing is, this entire thing is documented. The story is crazy as heck, so just stay tuned. We haven't even gotten into it yet. Now, this tatted up giant you see here is named Chris, and he is the third person involved in this beef. Chris is the person who exposed Nick for not paying everyone, so the Savage Squad falling out has a direct correlation to his actions. Chris has now started his own team called the Hooligans, which is actually doing insanely well, with its first video getting over 500,000 views, and he has since been trying to recruit Carlos to leave the Savage Squad and join his team instead. The other 2 members of the team are relevant in this beef, so I'm just going to introduce them off in rapid fire. So this 99 overall looking dude you see here is named Chauncey, and he's the best player of the squad. And this 55 overall looking dude you see here is Iman. Iman is still in his car somewhere smoking a blunt. He also probably still has his hoodie on. Alright, now let's get into this story. It all started sometime before April 25th, 2021. I don't want to be inaccurate, so I'm just saying some random date. All of this that you're about to see is a dramatized illustration of the events based on how it's described by Nick and Carlos. Also, disclaimer, I am not making fun of the situation Carlos was in at all. Homelessness is no joke, and it is amazing how far Carlos has come. Anyone who can make it out of a situation like that deserves the utmost praise and respect. But for the sake of this video, and of the fact that Carlos is unbelievably successful now, I'm going to try to make the reenactment as entertaining as possible. Please respect all people who happen to be less fortunate than you are. Alright, now, let's get into it. Sometime before April 25th, 2021. Nick, who was probably already 100,000 subscribers or so, hoops against Carlos one day in the park. Now, Carlos was probably trash, but I know he was putting his heart and soul into the game. Knowing Carlos, he probably was screaming at people, telling people that they're his son, and shooting air balls. He must have been super entertaining throughout the entire time that they were playing. After hooping for a couple hours and having a fun hoop session, Nick and Carlos chatted up. They talk about the run they just had and bond over a couple of the plays. They then dap each other up like all hoopers do and say goodbye. As Nick was leaving to go in his car, he notices Carlos go and start laying down on the bench. He then sees Carlos grab a blanket from behind a tree and put it on top of himself. Nick is confused as to why he saw this dude who he just saw airballing a bunch of shots and pouring his soul into a basketball game is sleeping on the bench. Instead of just minding his own business and going home, he instead walks over to Carlos and asks him about the situation. Carlos then sits up from the bench and tells Nick that he can't guard him. Carlos then opens up and tells Nick that he's been homeless for years. He then tells him that he's been kicked out of the house ever since he was 17. Carlos then probably says something along the lines of, "You could still get this work though," and then rolls back over on the bench. Nick hears this story and immediately feels bad for Carlos and wants to help. He knows that he has a popping YouTube channel right now and is currently looking for new members. He looks down at his phone and sees that his most recent YouTube video just touched 1 million views, and he knows that this exposure, mixed with the entertainment value that Carlos brings, could really change both of their lives. He decides to say, "Look Carlos, I have this opportunity that I can give you that can change everything for you. I'm going to add you to my basketball team. I see a lot of potential in you as an entertainer, not as a basketball player. We both know you're not LeBron James, or at least I know that. But I think that with your entertainment value, entertainment, not skill, and my platform, that we can do big things. All I ask is that you stay loyal to me." Carlos then responds back with,
"Y'all know I love y'all boys, and we gonna keep this same."
Nick is confused at first, but then he takes this as a yes, and he begins to take Carlos into his home. Nick takes him in literally as family. He gives him his first place to stay, gives him an iPhone, and he shows him how to be a better person. Everything I just stated is a dramatized version of literally what came out of Carlos's mouth when describing how Nick found him. Here's a clip if you think I'm capping.
I was sleeping park bench, you know what I mean, next to the court. I've been homeless for 2 years. I celebrate my birthday in the streets, you know what I mean, by myself, like, you know what I mean, nobody around, like, you know, like, I never had friends like that, you know what I mean, I never had friends. I've been beaten up in the streets, I've been jumped, I've been robbed, I've been, like, you know what I mean, I've been cop called, like, so many times. I mean, I put myself down a lot because, like, everybody kept talking shit, like, you know what I'm saying, oh, like, this man's special, like, you ain't gonna do nothing, you ain't gonna do nothing in life, you ain't gonna succeed, like, you ain't gonna do none of that, you ain't gonna make no money. When I first seen Nick in person, I mean, I said, "Hey Nick, if you need somebody like have energy on the court, I'm here. I'll do whatever you want me to do. Like, if you want me to talk shit, be a menace. Like, I really am a menace."
Carlos was living homeless with absolutely nothing. I saw potential and a purpose and a plan for Carlos. I saw that Carlos had entertainer skills and that he would be a very valuable YouTube member if it was done the right way, and he executed his plan. He loves me, I love him. I did everything I could back in those initial moments to help him get where he's at today.
Like, hey nigga, if you watching this, man, I appreciate you, bro, for everything you did, bro. Like, you know what I mean? It's respectful. Like, one love.
April 25th, 2021. Carlos has his first game with the Savage Squad. Nick introduces him to his fans, and he's obviously rooting for him.
Newest member of the squad, tell him what we're about to do.
Hey man, I'm gonna go dominating these boys, man, you know what I'm saying?
You don't want problems with Butter, I'll tell you straight up.
Carlos proceeds to do his thing on the basketball court, and by his thing, I mean that he absolutely gets destroyed by everyone he plays against while continuing to talk trash the entire time.
Hey, clear up.
Yeah.
Man, get him. I got this, man. Trust, bro. 90 trust, man. This nigga, man, he sorry as hell. He ain't got no...
That's why I signed him. That's why I signed him.
After this video is posted, everyone in the comment section is saying he's garbage. May 2nd, 2021. Carlos has his second game with the Savage Squad, and he still plays garbage. I'm talking absolute trash can 55 overall status.
Yo, I swear to God, bro. Confidence and shot. No. He gonna never ever score again. I'll bet y'all will score right now. I gotta call me don't score. How you had no? Spell my name. Shut the fuck up. Guard me. Guard me.
Everyone in the comments continues to flame him, saying why did he get picked up, he must be a friend, my grandmom can play better than him, etc. Nick is still pushing him though, and despite the fans not rocking with Carlos, Nick keeps him as a member of the squad and continues to encourage him. Now fast forward like a month to June 3rd, 2021. Carlos finally plays well for the first time ever and hits some crazy shots. He even hits a game winner for a loved one who just passed away. Nick and Carlos' friendship is obviously strengthening right before everyone's eyes.
Come on, bro, just... Oh, Jesus Christ.
Why Carlos got the most points, bro? You're not even like that for him.
I'm like this.
Before he shot, he said for my auntie. His auntie passed away last week.
Are you going to Disney World? That's the last question. Fun no, baby.
June 22nd, 2021. Carlos goes absolutely insane in a game at Venice Beach, one of the most famous basketball courts on the planet. He makes some plays that deserve to be on SportsCenter. Okay, I'm low-key exaggerating, but with his come-up story, the place just got me super hyped.
Oh my God. No way.
Yo, he got a lot better. He got a lot better. I'll fuck with Lotus, man.
Hey, we know why we're here. Let's go.
And the fans quickly switch to loving him. Almost overnight, he goes from being the most hated on the squad to being the fan favorite. He even changes his Instagram bio to they started as haters and they ended as fans. Now, in June through September, Carlos gets completely famous. He's taking pictures of fans and meeting famous people. People even start making fan edits of him. Remember how he was homeless before all this fame and his family had kicked him out? Well, apparently his family even took him back in. This just shows how much Carlos got his life together. In less than 1 year, every aspect of life is back on track for Carlos, and he's living a celebrity lifestyle. What Nick said would happen to Carlos has officially happened. He has officially gone from homeless to a household name. Nick has changed Carlos's life, and Carlos couldn't be more thankful. Now, this is where everything starts to go down. September 20th, 2021. Chris, another member of the Savage Squad, leaves the team, makes a crap ton of accusations, and all hell breaks loose. If you want to see the in-depth version of this whole day, I just put the video on the screen. His day was crazy. But to keep things short for this storyline, Chris states that Nick isn't paying any of his teammates, and he claims that Nick is manipulating Carlos. He exposes that Carlos has autism, and essentially makes an accusation that Nick is preying on Carlos. This immediately painted Nick as the bad guy, and hundreds of thousands of fans were now turning on Nick, talking about how horrible he was, and saying that he's abusing Carlos. And those same fans are also going going all the way over to Carlos and telling Carlos that he needs to leave the situation. And it seemed like the whole team was falling apart. Given that Carlos was extremely attached to this team, Carlos was extremely sad. You gotta imagine how this must have felt for Carlos. Carlos was literally homeless on the bench before this team formed. So probably, at one point in his life, this team was all that he had. And this team played a big part in changing his life. So Carlos was extremely sad. He later hops on Instagram Live with a heartbreak emoji as his caption. He doesn't say a single word for a couple hours, and he doesn't know what to believe. Later that day, Nick and Carlos hop on Instagram Live together. This is pretty much an attempt to defend Nick's name.
Listen, 6 months I was in the streets, and then my man Nick picked me up on the team, and this man been helping me out since day one, bro.
And we're gonna keep making it happen, bro. Shit.
Hell yeah.
Fast forward another couple hours, and Chris responds to this response by Carlos and Nick.
Carlos, Nick is asking you to go on live and do all this because he's trying to save his face, kid. You're damn bad, man. You're allowing somebody to manipulate you, bro, and you're going hard for it.
He then starts a trend by saying hashtag free Carlos. People all over the world start spreading this hashtag free Carlos, and some YouTubers start putting in their titles and get hundreds of thousands of views. Carlos has no clue to believe. Fast forward a couple minutes, Carlos goes on Instagram Live and is absolutely freaking out. He is completely torn whether to believe Nick or Chris, and he says he's in shock about everything that's going on. Nick even joins this live and says, quote unquote, "I did everything I could." The fact that Nick commented that in the live shows me that they must have been beefing, and that Carlos had probably blocked Nick's number, or at least wasn't responding to his calls. Because, you know, why else would he be commenting on his Instagram Live rather than just texting him directly? See? No clickbait. Carlos is completely freaking out, and he says that he has a big choice to make. He has to choose either to believe what the whole world is telling him and leave, or to believe the person that changed his whole world and stay. I can't even imagine that type of pressure.
I don't get this, bro. Like this whole thing is getting wrapped like so much. Like it's getting me like, bro, anxiety. My sweat is already coming. Like I'm telling you, bro, this anxiety, whatever it is, it's going on. This whole media it's kind of weird. Like me looking at this back and forth of me hearing this in my head. Like it's kind of hard for me to get it out.
After getting completely overwhelmed by the magnitude of this decision, he just ends his Instagram Live entirely.
It's hard. I'm not doing this shit.
Every single news outlet covered this story, and people in the comments were talking about Carlos' decision is going to be bigger than LeBron's. September 21st, 2021. Nick posts a video on his story that's longer than your girlfriend takes to the hair salon. I'm going to cut it up again so you guys don't have to watch the whole thing. Hit that subscribe and like for me. He responds to Chris accusing him that he's using Carlos, by instead saying that he's done everything for Carlos. He then says that him and Carlos are solid, and that Carlos and the Savage Squad members that stayed are his family.
Let me take a moment to explain to you guys everything that I'm doing for my brother and my family and my blood, Carlos. So I took Carlos on board from day one, living in the streets of homeless living, and I put him on this team. I did everything I could back in those initial moments to help him get where he's at today.
September 22nd, 2021. 2:10 p.m. Carlos apparently forgives Nick for everything that's going on. He then lets which side he's on be known by absolutely flipping out on Chris on his Instagram story.
Team, hold again! You, Chris! You ass!
September 23rd, 2021. The next day, Nick and Carlos go on Instagram Live and shoot around. They're obviously still very tight, and Carlos is still rocking with Nick despite everything that's going down. W-Mans. September 25th, 2021. Carlos goes back and forth on which team he's joining again. He then apologizes for going on Instagram Live flipping out, and he states that his actual decision is going to be made at 4 p.m.
Guys, what's up? My bad for not going Instagram Live yesterday. I was too stressed. I found a decision going to be made on Instagram Live today. This is not Nick's account. This is my account.
He also says that this is his account and this isn't Nick's account. The reason he's saying this is because a lot of the fans were talking about how Carlos has like a gun to his head for everything he's doing on his Instagram. So he then tells the fans to stop saying this is Nick's account and that he's not being held hostage. All in all, he decides to stick with the Savage Squad. September 26, 2021. Nick then posts on his story that him and Carlos are quote unquote solid as a rock. And this is where we are now. Nick and Carlos are still together, they're still friends, and they're still sticking with the Savage Squad. Nick even just took Carlos and the entire Savage Squad team to Puerto Rico, and they seem to be having a blast. Meanwhile, Chris has officially assembled his hooligan squad. He wasn't able to get Carlos on his team, so instead, he got 5 different versions of himself. You'll see what I'm talking about when you see his teammates. and his first video pulled 500,000 views in his first day. Nick and Carlos seem to have brushed off their whole beef, and Carlos seems to continue to trust Nick. It's going to be insane to see how this whole situation plays out. I wonder if Carlos will ever fall into what the media is saying and leave Nick, or if he will feel like he is forever in debt to Nick because he truly did bring him from homeless to a household name. I'm not gonna lie, regardless of the payment situation of $1,200, if I was Carlos, I would feel indebted to Nick too. You can't put a price tag on that type of drastic life change. And who knows, maybe we'll see Nick, Carlos, and the rest of the Savage Squad gang up on Chris's new team, the Hooligans. I don't know, but with all these storylines, that would definitely be an insane game. But that's just what I think. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Do you side with Nick, Carlos, Chris, etc.? Also, let me know what you would do if you were Carlos in this situation. Would you have an insane beef with Nick for not paying you that much, or would you just be thankful that he gave you the opportunity? If you like this video and want more content like this, hit that subscribe button and like button. We're on the road to that 20K right now, and I really think that we can hit it soon. Thank you guys for watching. All the support on this channel has been absolutely amazing. And without further ado, I'm out. Peace!
Hey, my mama blew $100,000 in the 80s. Went back broke by the time that she had a baby. Tried to teach me lessons on how to get money and save it, but I ain't listen. I had to show up in the latest 10th grade, getting every Jordan release like they was Payless. Now I'm grown, so it's foreign cars and diamonds to make them statements.